Welcome, everybody, to the Healing Place podcast. I'm your host, Teri Wellbrock. I know I say it all the time, but I'm smiling big again because I have these fabulous pre-record conversations with folks, and I get so excited because I want to say everything we just said and get it on the air for all of you to tune in and listen to. Also, just as an FYI, for just in case he decides to get rotten, Max has decided he needs to be on my lap. So please know that my little schnoodle Max, who is the cutest, most rottenest little boy, is on my lap. So there you go. On my pre-announcements. Today I have Brigitta, and it's Vischer, right?
Yeah, Visser.
Yeah,
That's right.
Fisher. Yes, yes, yes. And again, oh my gosh. So I'm going to read. We connected through Podmatch, which is such a great little platform for hosts and guests to connect. She is a light empowerment coach, divine channel, and light language healer, along with probably, well, an author, so many other wonderful things. So welcome, Brigitte.
Hi, Terry. Thank you so much for having me on your show today.
Oh, 100%. I'm excited to learn from you. I told you as I read through your bio, I said, "Oh my gosh, we're soul sisters." I was like, there's so much from our trauma history and then finding our way into the light.
Yep.
And you have a book you just told me launching at Thanksgiving, correct?
Yep.
Oh, that's
It's
exciting. All right.
launching. Yes.
We'll talk about that too. So, yeah, let's talk, introduce you to folks and just talk about what some of these roles that you are and how you got to this place of being an empowerment coach and channel and healer.
Oh, life experiences. Lots of trauma, lots of pain, lots of heartache. That's how I got there. It's turning your pain into power. Yeah, that's what it's about. And not remaining in that victimhood and grabbing the bull by the horns. Yes, we all suffer from trauma. We all go through pain, but it's meant to elevate our awareness, and it's meant for us to understand our experiences and all that we go through rather than staying there and dropping down in quicksand slowly but surely until you completely drown. And so for me, in a nutshell, I mean, as a kid, well, I was born in Holland in 1974. And I mean, yes, I've traveled the world. I've traveled more time than my age. The last time I counted was about 53 or 54 times. I'm just a nomad. I'm a wanderer. And but yeah, I mean, I was molested by a friend of the family when I was about 11, in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. But growing up in the 1980s, I always say, Terry, life was very different than what it is today. And so I didn't say anything because I didn't understand. And mm, when we moved back to Holland, my dad passed away from coronary heart disease. And he was only 44 years old. But he kind of knew that. I could say he walked out of this life because he was tired of life and he didn't take his medication. And yeah, that's all. Could you class it as suicide? I don't know. He was just tired of life and he hopped on his bicycle one day and he had it's what do you call that? It's not a heart attack. It's just you take a last breath and that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
And he fell off his bike. And so yeah, and I was 14. So that took a hit on me. But I used to starve myself. And I started kind of as a kid. I threw my lunches away. And at the dinner table, I would just eat my dinner. And I think that's because, when we suffer from trauma, even as children, it's not our fault. But at the end of the day, when we grow up, it's still our responsibility, to take ownership of that. And we can keep pointing fingers. Yeah, this happened to me, and that is why I am like that. And that is remaining, as I said, in that victimhood. But it's really taking that responsibility and taking action to heal because we're all worthy. We can. Life is really beautiful. Well, that time I thought it sucked. And that's why I was 5'11". I was also bullied in high school because I was so skinny and I was very scared of guys or of the boys. And my mom also put me on a course, a modeling course, and that just didn't really help me. I just wanted to be invisible, and that's why I walked around like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. And and even though I did this course, the modeling industry, as I found out, it's very fickle, it's very superficial. I mean, I was assaulted in the modeling industry by a hairdresser. And you know, when you're at that age when you leave school, and I was like, yeah, but I really want to make something of myself. And I really want to prove to people that I can be someone. Right? 'Cause that's what I wanted, but it didn't quite work out that way. And it's all about valuing ourselves. You know, we don't have to prove ourselves to anyone, but it took us to figure that out. And so, you know, my stepdad, he died of cancer in 25 when I was 25. And that was really rough for me as well because my mom was leaning on me and I kind of rolled into drugs for several months. And because it was always like I had to put on my happy face for people because that's what they expected. It's not like, oh, we can't have the sad Brigitte. And so, yeah, I take full responsibility for that. I blacked out and I was still working. Yep. And then from one day to the next, I thought, you know what am I doing? But of course, I mean, I was, I mean, I rolled into dysfunctional relationships as well because I was a broken bird. So that is exactly what you attract. And these broken birds, I mean, I tried to mold them to my liking because that's what you do. But it was really, I mean, when we meet people, they're often triggers for us and it's triggers for you to heal. I was like this little donkey, you know, and I was like, I wanted it to work, and I was like a doormat because I was a people pleaser. Oh my gosh, I was so afraid of hurting people, and in the end, put myself in the boxing ring. Yeah, because I would walk till the ends of the earth to save someone, and
Oh,
that's why I had, like I said, I had a lot of dysfunctional relationships from those suffering from drug abuse, alcohol abuse, and I really hit the skids in 2009 when my ex was like a part-time crack addict, and I bought his ticket from the US to come and visit me in Holland. Oh, well, who does that? You know, it's like he
yeah.
should have paid for his own ticket, but I was a little bit younger, and that was really an eye opener for me. It was really I was in this fight or flight mode. I mean, I have never seen someone so high on crack before,
Wow.
and it was painful because he did want to beat his demons, but no rehab in Holland would accept him because he didn't have a social. And so in the end, he landed in bed with the Dutch Crips. He was held for ransom. And in short, I mean, I saved his life by working with the police and he was deported back to the US. But in the meantime, my mom got me out of Holland in the space of 2 days. And she found me an apartment in the UK. And so I ended up staying there for several years. But because of that, it was like I downed a whole box of ibuprofens. Well, that didn't do much, right? But the next day when I woke up, it was like, yeah, I can't go on like this anymore. This is ridiculous. And the reason what being was that the leader of the Crips in Holland had called me and he said, if I ever find you, I'm going to kill you. And he said, if I ever find your ex, you will never find him again because he'll be dead in a ditch somewhere. And I just remember that to this day. But so I had to get out of this funk and I went to see a counselor. And the counselor was like, after hearing my story, she's like, yeah, Brigitte, but you know what? You're strong enough. You'll be fine. So what did that help me? No, not at all. So that's how I rolled into the holistic arena. I'd read tarot cards years before, so I wasn't, I mean, of course, I was aware of holistic healing, but I found a Reiki practitioner and she was amazing, amazing. And that was also the start of me learning Reiki, you know, doing level 1 and 2 in the space of 1.5 years, in the space of a weekend, because it takes time. And years later, I mean, I became a Reiki master and also attuned people. But I started to learn. I just wanted to absorb a lot. I wanted to learn a lot. So I studied many holistic courses, even EFT, the emotional freedom technique.
Mhm.
Very simple yet very profound. Aroma therapy, holistic nutrition, and many other forms of healing, including Anubis Reiki, angelic Reiki, you name it. And so it was really about, it was a healing process, very much so. And I thought, oh, maybe it's over now. I can relax a little bit. But you know what the universe is like, your spirit guides are
Yes.
like. It's like, ooh, well, maybe she's learned from this one. Let's see. We'll put someone else in her path. Put a different wrapping around it, different bow, and see how she unpacks this one. Oh, sugary banana. It goes so well.
Oh my God. I'm only sitting here shaking my head and laughing because anyone who's listened to this show knows that I have said these exact same words. Like all the trauma I went through in my youth from, sexual abuse as well, and an alcoholic parent and bank robberies. And I mean, just so much stuff in my very early first 22 years of life. And then I did all this healing work starting in
Yeah,
2013 and thought, okay, I moved to this beautiful island in Hilton Head Island, South Carolina, and it was like a dream come true, and it's a very healing island. And said, all right, like I made it through the darkness and I'm in the light. And then the universe said, oh, hold up, you're not done yet.
yeah,
And here it turns out we had moved into this beautifully rehabbed house that, unbeknownst to us, because they lied on the disclosure, had been condemned for toxic mold. And I got very, very, very sick
oh my gosh.
from mycotoxin poisoning. And so it just brought me to my knees. And so again, I was just having to put everything into practice that I had been talking about on this podcast, that I had been practicing and trying. Like I really had to do the work.
Yeah.
Um, and so yeah, I totally related his. Not to dishearten people who are doing the healing work. Like, oh well, when you get to a place where you think you're healed, guess what? The universe is going to throw you something else.
Yes.
Not necessarily, but if you're open to continue learning and continue that soul
Yeah.
journey. So.
But I think the beauty about this is, Terry, is that once these things start to happen, it's like a light bulb switches on because you understand that it's an experience that you have to go through. And it's like, okay, why is this happening for me? Not to me, but why is this
Yes.
actually happening for me? What can I learn from this? How can I move forward? How can I come to a better place? And I've learned that, I've understood that over the years. And even though, when I was in the US in St. Petersburg and, my ex was terrible, he moved from an hour away to two doors down. And he was very controlling, always wanting to see where I was going. And I mean, I was working like crazy. But again, this is me, mea culpa. It's like, he couldn't pay his bills. And so, yes, I had a mortgage-free home, but he was renting. And so often I would help him out or get him his groceries because he wasn't working. He had a reckless, he's doing very well now. But yeah, at the time, it was just, I was also enabling him. And again, I put myself in the boxing ring. But even though I sold my home to get away from him, bought another one, was a bit of a money pit. I was often crying so hard on the floor and screaming at the universe, saying, I don't want to go on like this anymore. I just don't. And finally, I saw this little breadcrumb. My sister had given this to me, and she's like, do kambo. And I did. Kambo is the shamanic frog medicine. And I did, and I went, didn't really do any research because if I do, I kept my expectations on healing, and I didn't do that. Well, let me tell you something. I was sitting there, and the shaman who's like, he burns 4 dots into my leg, puts the frog poison on me, and instantaneously I just started purging. You also have to drink 2 liters of water, and I was purging so much. It took me like 4 hours because my ego was really battling me. And yeah, so when I had to get up to the toilet, he would just help me because he's so used to it. And yeah, I did it a second time several weeks later, but it was really profound for me because I was so clear in my head that I made up a list of all the things that I wanted to do. So, I wanted to go skydiving because yeah, my height, because of my height, not because of my height, because of heights, but and
Yeah.
13,000 feet. Yeah, I jumped, and it's really amazing how we, in the midst of our drama, we don't see that it's actually so minute, because it is from above. You see the world is just like, I mean, it's so tiny, and we make a farce out of everything. And yeah, that was very profound for me. I mean, I went to see a healer. She is an Akashic record healer. She's still my mentor. And it was only because spirit nudged me to go to this fair, and I'm like, I'm not going. And they kind of like, it was almost like they kicked me out of my house, and they said, you're going to that fair. And I did. And I signed up for her, and I went to see her. And she walked me through, not at that stage, but afterwards, she walked me um through several lifetimes. And it's really profound how people in this lifetime are a different character than in past lifetimes. But my ex was in Florida, was in another lifetime. He was a charlatan, and he actually poisoned me over several months, under the guy hmm, under the ugh, I can't even say it, under the guise of healing me, but it wasn't. And but what was so beautiful about this is that the energy changed. It was gone. It was cleared. And so he left me be, and he started to sort out his own life. And so I could go on with mine, and then I moved back to the UK. But there was a workshop that Alania did, about how to be a divine channel. And the exercise was really, really simple. I mean, she did a meditation and some light language, and I zonked out. God knows where I went, because when she counted back from three, two, one, I was back in the room, and everyone had all these beautiful stories about seeing their guides and getting these messages. And what did I get? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. But she had this wonderful exercise where you just sit with your notepad and your pen, and you just say to the universe, I am open and ready to receive. And I was so far gone at that point. I thought to myself, okay, I'm going to try this at home. And I went home after the workshop. That's exactly what I did. And I always say this, like that my mind was shot because I'd been through so much that I wasn't even thinking, and it just started to flow. And then I looked back down, and it was all in Old English prose. And I thought, oh, well, now I'm going to ask questions. So over the next several weeks, I asked questions, and then I used my cards, and whichever deity, archangel, or ascended master I pulled, I would just sit with it and ask them if they had a message to convey, and who they were and what they did. And it was profound. And yeah, it's like going to the gym or learning to ride a bike. Yeah, it takes time.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Again, like my face, my cheeks are hurting from smiling so big as I listen to you because it's so true. As I've become more and more in touch with my intuition and more open to listening to those, I call them angel whispers, that it is amazing to me how more and more I'm able to tune into those things and just be open. And some of my coworkers, it's funny because one of them in particular, yesterday I had called him, which I normally we text back and forth, but for whatever reason I picked up the phone and I called him, and he was like, "You're freaking me out. Stop it." He said, I just, the question you're asking me, I just pulled into the driveway. I'm sitting here looking at you through the window. He had just pulled in the work van. And he said, and I was just coming in to talk to you about this. And so it, like, to me, it's not, well, what did I just read recently that, with the universe, there are no accidents. It's just, it's all happening, for a reason on our journey.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And I mean, my healing journey has continued. I mean, this year, yes, I moved to Spain because, I'm still, I've got one foot in the corporate world, but I nearly burnt out last year. And it's like I just have to keep going. But the thing is, for me, as I see it now, it's a stepping stone. Yeah, my responsibility is to me, myself, and I first, rather than giving my power away. And the thing is, we often give our power away. Yeah, we care what other people think. And that's just what I call the societal paradigm. It's like, we have to be a certain way, act a certain way. And that is not true. You have to be true to yourself. But for me this year, as well, my ex, the one in 2009, he came and visited me in Spain, and I hadn't seen him for 15 years. And I was like, okay, give it a go. But in the meantime, in all those years, I've done so much work on myself, so much healing. And it was such an elevated experience because he was so abusive. He suffered from mental health issues. He was self-medicating. He was just screaming and shouting at me. I was living in my study, and after 3 weeks, I had enough. He let me dry. I was his personal chauffeur, and everything was my fault. Everything was my fault. And after 3 weeks, I had enough, and I kicked him out of my house. I kicked him out. And that took a lot. And then I even had to get the police involved. I know he went back to the US, and even though he's turned the tables on me because, I'm the villain in the story, it's okay. But the beauty of this experience was, or actually is, the fact that I understood why it happened because I needed to shut that door. In order to move forward with the rest of my life, I needed to shut that door. And so that was really powerful. And I let him go with love because I don't have that bitterness, because it doesn't matter if someone's a villain in our story. Yeah. Characters come and go, and they're meant to teach us something. They're reflections of stuff that we need to learn. And that's that shift in perspective, that change in mindset. And yes, I've been on a healing journey since. I mean, I've gotten rid of trauma by and doing sacred medicine, shamanic medicine. So yeah, I've done the mushrooms and the San Pedro cactus, and that was like the starter. And so I did ayahuasca just this weekend gone, and that was like the main course. And because my intent was really to heal everything that was unhealed so that I could get a clearer connection with the divine. Well, sugary banana, what did I ask for? Puked my guts out. It was so primal. And at one point, they were so worried. And like I said to you earlier, I was swinging over a bucket with my arms going left and right. I'm like, no, I'm going to be okay. I need to go through this. I'll be fine. And I did go through it. I mean, I did it, and I came out so much lighter. And it's really about creating that space when you let go of all that crap, Terry. As you know, it's like you create space for new things to come in. And so I'm going again for the dessert at the end of November, which is the mushrooms and the San Pedro cactus, because I've been guided to do so. And I think a lot of the times this shamanic medicine is so misunderstood. It is so ancient. It goes back to the dawn of time. It's been around since the dawn of time. It's just that, a lot of it's been over time with drugs, if you want to call it that. It's been abused, it's been chemicalized, and it's been
Right.
abused. Um, so it's been very, very profound for me, and I'm nothing but grateful.
Yes. Wow. Well, again, I'm sitting here just mesmerized. I told you I don't know if I told you beforehand because I'm so enthralled with your story that I'm like, did I tell her before or did we talk about it here? That I had done the harmonic egg here on in the Hilton Head area. And it was Oh my gosh, I'm so drawing the blank on, but anyway, it was like light and sound and I was taken to other universes and
Yeah.
taken to the void. And like, it is amazing how when I stepped out of that, I've been 3 times now, but that first one was just
Wow.
so like, whoa. Um, because I walked out, you're right, feeling so much lighter as if I cleared that gunk out
Yep.
and it did allow for more to then come in.
Yep.
But when you clear the gunk out, it's like it allows more light to come in.
Yep.
Yeah,
Yes. And what I realized as well, what I really felt, yes, I saw the sacred geometry, but when I was
that's the
puking my
word.
gut out, didn't really care about that. But the Lemurians came through with codes, and it's just a dolphin energy. And I was going blank onto the bed because I couldn't even sit straight. Can
So
imagine. I couldn't even hold a bottle of water. So the trip sitter, one of the trip sitters, bless his heart, he was such a beautiful soul. And he just put the bottle to my mouth. And so I drank and drank and then blah,
yeah,
puked it out. But I just there was so much stuck in my heart chakra area. It needed to be released. But when I did the psilocybins, the mushrooms in San Pedro cactus, that was profound for me because in that moment you understand that you are one with everything and that everything is connected, that we're all sacred geometry and we're energy. And it was just amazing to understand that concept, to actually see it, because people can say it to you, but it was actually just feeling it and being right in the middle of it. So that was also a very profound experience. And I don't know, yeah, for me, everything, we're here to return to that love for ourselves and one another, and to learn about what life is all about, because it ain't a 9 to 5 job, but
no.
whatever floats your boat. And it's really an understanding that we are manifestors, that we are divine alchemists, and that we weave the magic through our energy because we are energy. And the way that we direct it, we can manifest anything that we want because that's how powerful we are. But we've been made to believe that we are not. Yeah. And that's through the matrix, this societal paradigm.
Yes. So I have to ask, only because I've never heard the term, and I've heard you mention it 2 or 3 times now. Lemurian. What is that?
So you had Atlantis,
Yes.
and before that, you had Lemuria, another civilization, but they kind of bled into one another. So the Lemurian energies is all about, yes, uh-huh. So I get stuff through sustaining the feminine, but it's the dolphin energy, the mermen, the mermaids. It's very, very gentle, very different to Atlantean energy. And then, of course, you have many of the galactics. But yeah, it's
Yeah,
very beautiful, very
I had
gentle.
someone once tell me, Terry, you're a Palladian star seed. And I was like,
Yeah,
what the heck's a Palladian star
yeah,
seed? And then I started to research it and it was like
yes,
the top 25 signs you're a Palladian star seed. And all 25, I was like, oh my gosh, yes.
very cool.
Yeah. So I thought that was really cool. So I started researching and reading up on that. And it was really, really awesome. So yeah, I'm so glad. Thank you for teaching me about that. And what's really cool when you say the dolphin energy is I've said this story a couple times, but I'm going to repeat it really quick. So when I was really, really sick and wasn't quite sure I was going to make it through this mold poisoning, um,
Yeah,
I had gone up to do a meditation in our we have a little beach, a little private beach in our neighborhood. And so I had gone up there and it was weird because it was very isolated. Nobody was there but me. And it's normally people and dogs, and, people walking their
yeah,
dogs and all that fun stuff. So I was sitting there and meditating and I just said, I just please God, angels, Jesus, universe, whoever's listening, like somebody, I just need a sign that I'm on the right path, that I'm
yeah,
going to heal from this. And I said, and I closed my eyes and I said, if you could send me some dolphin of hope um, as a sign, I would very much appreciate it. Thank you. And So I had my eyes closed and I said, okay, dolphin, I'm ready for you. And I opened my eyes. And as I opened my eyes, what appeared to be 20 dolphin fin, I'm sure it was only like five, because they come up and go back down,
Yeah.
popped out of the water right in front of me where I was sitting looking out over the water. And I just remember like my whole body started shaking and I was just sob crying. And I was like, okay, all right, thank you. Like I asked for it, you gave it to me.
Yes.
And then
Yeah.
again, another shift happened. Like at that point, I stopped questioning and just said, all right, I just need to follow the signs of how to continue this healing.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And I did. I got so much better. I have a lingering rash that I'm still working on, but other than that, all of my labs are back to normal. So yeah,
That's
thanks.
amazing.
I call them my dolphin of hope. Anytime I see dolphin when we're, out at the ocean or if we're driving over a bridge, I'm on an
Yeah.
island, I see dolphin. I always smile and get a tear in my eye because I'm like, hi, my dolphin of hope. Like I just like it's so cool.
Yeah. That's
So
really
yeah,
beautiful.
thanks. Thanks for letting
Yeah.
me share.
Yeah. No, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So now do you work with people individually? Do you or do you do group or how do you engage with folks?
um, right now it's individual. Eventually I will do groups. My light language has also been tuning up, and which is what I really love. It's almost right now is I'm a little bit in a vacuum, but that's good. Um, but yeah, normally it's one on one, via Zoom, or people come here to my place here in Spain if they live in the vicinity, and it's always very very different. With the light language, it just when it flows, I will could either get past lives come through, but I also get messages, and yeah, it's every experience is unique.
Yeah.
But
Oh
there
my.
people have gotten rid of their fears. I've had someone that was able to walk again. And yeah, you just have to be open and receptive to it. And just because what I do may not resonate with other people, that's okay. You have to do what resonates with your soul, with your spirit, and heal. I think that's the key thing. The key thing is to, if you want a better life, then you've got to take the first step. Yeah. And I always say, embrace yourself, hug it out with yourself. Because you are loved. So yeah,
Yes.
that's the light language part. And yeah, the channeling comes very, very natural to me these days.
Yeah. Oh, you're teaching me so much. I've not heard of light language before.
You want to
So
hear it?
yes, I mean, that to me is just such like as soon as every time you say it, it just resonates with me on such a soul level. And I've not heard
Yeah.
heard anyone call it that before.
So on a conscience level, it's going to sound gibberish, but on a cellular level, your soul understands the light codes just beautifully. And so for people that have never heard it, when I start, I always say to them, just allow for the codes to flow without and within. Don't even think about it. Just absorb them, and
Yeah.
that's it. So yeah, if there's an intent, or if there's anything you want to work on, or if there's anything, for your listeners.
Okay. Do I say it out loud or is everybody just
Yeah,
kind of
what do you
think?
want? Love, peace, and clarity?
No. I want continued signs on how to help my skin heal on the final step of this journey. So yeah.
Okay, so it's skin healing. Okay. So that's kind of clarity. Okay, we'll see what comes through.
Yes,
So,
yes.
yeah. So, Terry, I'm just going to ask you to close your eyes.
Okay.
Okay. Take a very deep breath in, hold it, and gently let that go. And take another very deep, deep cleansing breath in, hold it, and let go. And just keep breathing in and out as I bring through the light codes. Mm. Tomia noli kia samue nikia wa te kaluela luela kila mo ia la kikia mosu ia iwe e makaya we e wa ai to shikiama tamia we mu ya sai we mu ni wa kia samu we ni wa ham Toki, toki sisi ama hunuki ama weheti ki ama sa tu shishi ama ai mi ama uiniki ama hai miki si ama ani wa iniki ama so they're working through I'll tell you what they're doing. They're working through your head, but they're also working along your spine, and it's really just about clearing and cleansing right now. Ta kiki miki amaka nushi ta tiki moko naki amasakati ta kinu shuku chu yamaka Tati muhanuku ata wo hesse toni tukuki ni miki anu ko tiki sakoi Sakoi Nikiyama Ushi Niyama Ai Nikiyama Ai Nikiyama Ai Siki Nikiyama Kaseki Hai Nikiyama Hai Wahe Nikiyama you're not a fish in a pond, you're free. Ho Niki Sikiyama Lawi Malakushiniwa Marakushiniwa ya Marakushiniwi Nikiyama Ko Nikiyama Ha Okay, okay. Tasu Niyamaku. Tika. Mm. And whenever you're ready, Terry, you can open your eyes.
Well, I'm crying. Goodness.
That
Wow.
was very hot now.
Do what?
A little, I always get a little bit high, but this time I'm really hot.
Oh, well,
No,
thank you for sharing. I'm sorry you're so hot. It's a result.
no, it's okay. It's good that you're crying.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Shoo, I felt that all through. Wow. Yeah. My heart, my center, my soul, yes. Wow. And all through my, like someone had their hands on my head.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that. Very
Almost,
powerful.
yeah. So it was really about clarity for you, clearing. But the thing along the spine was, I don't know how to say it. It was more like giving you that nudge, that extra little backbone, to move forward. And just with what they were showing me at the end, was just with your feet in the water, just your feet in the water and the sand. Um, and that was just really cleansing, but it's showing, the ebb and the flow of life. And sometimes how we feel with the pond, what they meant was we sometimes feel like a fish in a pond, but actually we're a fish, a drop in the ocean, right? And we are part of the whole ocean. We
Wow.
encapsulate ourselves sometimes.
Yeah. I just found it was so beautiful. Like it was just, yeah, you said it didn't sound like gibberish to me. It sounded like it's almost like I could hear the language without hearing the language, if that makes sense.
Yes,
Yeah. Wow. Thank
it's
you. Oh
yeah,
my
you're
gosh.
welcome.
My heart
Yeah.
hugs yours. So that was absolutely beautiful. Well,
Mm.
I certainly want to give you an opportunity before we close out. I know we've gone a little over, and I so appreciate your time, to leave folks with any final thoughts, words of wisdom, whatever you would like to share.
I always say to people on your healing journey, whatever you may go through, never think that you're alone, but you need to take that first step. And it doesn't matter. I don't care what age you are. It doesn't matter. It really doesn't matter. You are worthy of living a life fulfilled. We all are. And we are here to return to that wholesomeness of ourselves. And the only way that we can do that is by stripping back the layers, stripping back the layers like an onion. And it's okay to cry. It's okay to scream, but don't stay there. Take that first step to healing. And from this point on, it doesn't matter what happened in the past, doesn't matter what's going to happen in the future. It's what's important is what you're doing now in this moment. So are you going to get off that couch and say, you know what? I want my life to be better. I'm going to take responsibility for my own life, accountability for my life because I'm worth it. That sounds so much like a L'Oreal commercial, but it's not. You're so, so worthy. It doesn't matter what other people think of you, but it's really important what you think of you and how you feel about yourself. Yeah.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, we're all energy. We're all here to learn from one another. So even though someone's wronged you, just hold up the mirror to yourself and stop pointing fingers because you'll only be pointing at yourself and say, you know what? How can I make my life better? How can I improve? And honestly, you have the power within you. Yeah, stop giving your power away like sweets in a candy jar. Yeah, take control of your life and take back your I am power.
Yes. Wow. Well, thank you. And what a beautiful note to end on. And I say amen and hallelujah. So how do folks connect with you? Where do they find you?
They can find me on my website, powersoulhealing.com, on my YouTube channel, which is also Power Soul Healing. You'll find light language in between. And I'm also on Instagram under Universal Light Warriors.
Wonderful.
Yes.
All right. Well, again, it's just been such a pleasure to have you here. Thank you for teaching me and sharing your light, and obviously yes, for the light language. I mean, that's so cool. So thank you, thank you, thank you.
Well, thank you so much for having me, Terry. And thank you for sharing your light.
Oh, thank you. Max wants to. I think he's sleeping, but Max, do you want to say bye bye to everybody? You say hi. All right. Well, everyone, thanks for joining us on the Healing Place podcast today. And remember, until next time, be gentle with yourself. Thanks. Bye bye. Hey, everybody. Teri Wellbrock here. Just wanted to thank you again for being a part of this healing space and my hashtag Hope for Healing journey. Thank you for sharing, liking, inviting others to join, listening in. You've really helped this show blossom. It has now been downloaded in 136 countries and is in the top 2% globally out of 3.2 million shows, which is just amazing. And it's all because of you and your tuning in and inviting others and sharing and liking and loving. And your reviews on Apple really help too. My goal is to hit 100 5-star reviews by the end of the year. And I am closing in on that. So if you are listening in on Apple or Apple Podcasts, please go and rate the show and leave a review if you absolutely love it. And I would be most appreciative. Also, if you would like to receive my monthly Hope for Healing newsletter, please be sure to go to teriwellbrock.com. It's TERI, just one R, WELLBROCK.com. And I have a gift to send you for signing up for that monthly Hope for Healing newsletter. Plus, there are many other resources listed on that page, including a resource library. All right. Thanks. Bye-bye.